from
Yolie?
To accept, press 1.
Hello, is this Julie? Is that what you said?
Yolie.
Jolie.
Yes.
Okay, how are you tonight? Thank you for
I'm
coming
fine,
in.
thanks.
What's up?
Yeah, it's actually Yolie,
Yolie.
Yolie.
Oh, okay.
Short, yeah, it's short for Yolanda.
Oh, so
Yeah,
YOL. Okay, I
yeah,
like how that's spelled. Yolie. Okay.
yeah,
What can I help
yeah.
you?
Hey, I'm new to this, and I've been watching your show, and I've been watching you and Dago, and what doesn't make sense to me, because I have a bachelor's degree in psychology, and I am an attorney.
Hmm.
I practice medical malpractice, so I have some knowledge about things. And Bryan Kohberger, he seems like he has, and I'm not a doctor, so I'm not diagnosing him, but just based on what I've seen, sounds like he has obsessive compulsive disorder. And somebody like that, to me, I find it really hard to believe that somebody who is very meticulous and very, like, won't eat food out of a pan that's been used with meat, those types of things, and wearing gloves at the grocery store, like I've heard, he really sounds like he has obsessive compulsive disorder, and I find it really hard to believe that somebody like that would go in and do all this stuff with
Messy stuff.
blood and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know, and his eyes. I mean, people say that he looks like a killer, and at first, you look at him and you think, whoa, but the guy is he has a lot of anxiety. I mean, I think he does. I mean, just looking at him, I mean,
Hmm.
his eyes are like, he has a lot of anxiety. So, I'm just wondering, if somehow he just got mixed up in this and he was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
You
I
know,
mean,
and that's what I've always wondered too, because I also I've explored the theories and the thoughts that he did this, and I've also explored the thoughts and the theories, like with this sheath, right? When
yeah,
when we found out it was 20 skin cells, right?
yeah.
Uh,
Mhm.
when we found out it was touch transfer, when we're talking about you're touching a coffee cup, then I bring it home and your touch transfers on my microphone stand. That makes me wonder, okay, well, who says that he didn't sell the knife? Who says that he
Yeah,
didn't pawn the knife? Who says that he didn't trade the knife? Who says that he didn't gift the knife to somebody? Who's,
exactly.
you
And
know what
who
I mean?
says the knife? And who says the knife? I mean, well, the knife may have been planted. It may have been placed there, but
Hmm.
yeah. But it just this case is just it's keeping. I mean, it as an attorney myself, I look at these, the secrecy behind it, and I can see some of it because he deserves a fair trial, and you have to be careful. I mean, like,
Yes.
this case had made me think twice about saying something about somebody that has been arrested, because just because they're arrested, it doesn't mean they did anything.
Right.
You know,
Especially with the way that shit can get spun nowadays, too.
I mean, I see the media and they say, "Oh, Kohberger's car was found driving around." Well, maybe he had a drug problem, and I'm not saying he did or didn't. But if he's obsessive compulsive, he might do things like repetitiously.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, they have this
Well,
weird thing.
well, and we even heard that, his neighbors would say that he was up vacuuming and cleaning his freaking house at two,
Yeah.
3, 4 in the morning. So who's to say that? And I'm gonna be honest with you. When I was dealing with a lot of my PTSD and shit in the beginning, right? The
Yeah.
best way for me to not freak the fuck out was take a drive at 2, 3,
Yeah.
4, 5 in the morning when nobody was out on the road. I could think clearly. I got fresh air. It was that mental refresh. I'm not gonna lie, I did that shit, you know?
Yeah, and so,
So,
like, I know. I mean, I worked in a psychiatric hospital before I became an attorney, And I do know people who have the disorders. Like if you look at his hands are, and I'm glad that you guys followed the judge's orders not to zoom in on him in the
Oh,
hearings.
yeah.
Yeah, you did that. You guys did that.
Thank you.
That was very, very thoughtful and very, very respectful, because the judge has a point.
Yeah.
You zoom in on him and you see all these things, and I'm guilty of looking. I mean, I
Mhm.
am. I saw, when in one of those hearings they zoomed in on him,
Yeah.
and his hands were red. They were raw, like he's washing his hands all the time.
Yeah.
That kind of thing you see with obsessive compulsive
Mm-hmm.
disorders, and
Especially in
the
a prison,
oh gosh, and then his jaw was like, he was like grinding his teeth, or I mean, these are all things that somebody with like high anxiety and that would have. And it's kind of like, I don't know if he did it or didn't do it, but I mean, we don't know. I mean, there's so much out there, and listening to those videos, my goodness, I've been addicted to the I've been on there with you guys, addicted to it. And I have
Yeah.
to do work. I have to do my work. I work
Yeah.
at home, thank goodness I'm allowed
Yeah.
to work at home. But just analyzing everything, it's unbelievable, the secrecy behind it. There's some part of it that probably should be like confidential, if it involves third parties, things like that like confidential medical information,
Yeah.
that might involve third parties. You get a protective order and it stays private. But we're talking about evidence in the case that they're stipulating to, a protective order for, or it baffles me, and I don't practice criminal law, I never have, but just watching the proceedings is very strange. And I really am getting very interested in this case, like I was in the beginning. And I don't know, I kind of feel bad for this guy, he may have done it, but I still, have some compassion for people, even though they do crimes. Like Brent Kopaka, I mean, he had he may have had a severe brain injury and post-traumatic stress disorder, and who knows, people like that, they can get a little crazy, and it's because their disorder, right?
Right. I mean,
Yeah, go ahead.
I had a great caller a few weeks ago because we were talking about how they were mentioning protected person in the body cam stuff. And I had a great caller who deals with, or who did used to deal with, the PTSD and placements and things like that. And she said, it's she had mentioned about it being not necessarily a protected person, but a protected veteran,
Yeah.
because of the PTSD and all the symptoms. And
Well, yeah, I mean,
there's special, programs. So yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, it's sad that they have, and some people, like if they have OCD, they can't. I mean, medication can help, but it's like they can't control it. I mean, he may have been going around there, like you get loops. Like they get looped into doing things like 3 times, 4 times.
Yeah.
Like it's like a compulsion. They have to do
Yeah,
it.
you can't walk on cracks.
Yeah, you can't walk on cracks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
It's so sad, because if this guy was, and I can see, the fact that he would, what they say, they found him in the wee hours of the morning at his parents' house separating the trash. Okay, that to me sounds like somebody who is like really OCD and can't handle the trash being exposed to other trash. Like he needs to make sure it's separate. Like put this trash in here, put this trash in this baggie, and we can't have it in the trash of my parents. We have to put it somewhere else. Like they think craziness. I mean, I've seen it. I mean, I worked in a hospital where people that have to make sure they touch the wall 3 times, or else they freak out. It's like they have to, and so I mean, everybody.
I mean, I deal with it myself. I have
me too.
OCD.
I swear.
I do. I know what you mean. I was a little kid and I was thinking I had to do certain things so many times, otherwise I thought I was going to die. Like, no,
Exactly.
seriously, like as a little
Uh-huh.
kid, I remember like I had to do things 2 times, 4 times. Otherwise, I thought I was, I wasn't gonna wake up the next day or some shit. It's
It's
true. Yeah.
anxiety. It's a
Yeah.
severe anxiety. And the
Yeah.
way he looks, in the when he got stopped by the police, his eyes are wide open, and he looks, a part of it is also controlling. There's a controlling part of it. And, he's like looking at his father like, "What are you saying?" And I remember, my mom would say something and I'd be like, "What are you saying? Like, stop it." like, and it's an anxiety thing. I mean, his
Yeah.
eyes are like wide open. I mean, I don't think, when they say that he looks like he's scared, well, he might be. I mean, a cop stops you and he's with his father and he's like scared he's going to get a ticket. I mean, who knows? But, you know,
It could be. You know what I mean? Um, it could be nervous because maybe you're not used to that. It can be a pressure situation because you're on the road. You've been
with your
driving so
father.
damn long.
Mhm.
The last thing any of us want when we're going on a road trip is to end up with a damn ticket.
In
I
another state.
Right. I think most of us get a little nervous when you do get pulled over. Not that we're doing anything wrong or we're a criminal, but you still get fucking nervous. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just natural emotion. Um, you know, to say that he didn't, who knows,
No,
Uh,
and for him to get all bloodied up and just go in there and go on a crazy frenzy like that, to me, I think he would be way too worried about getting dirty. I mean, he couldn't. To me, it's almost seems like somebody who is so, uh, you know, particular and putting trash, and cleaning in the middle of the night. I wish I had that disorder. I could clean my house, but like he's cleaning in the middle of the night, like he needs to like have like he can't sit still if it's not clean, like vacuuming and driving his car around, like you say, when you get to that point, if he's cleaning and he feels like, God, there's something wrong with me, like I need to take a drive, you know. So him cleaning at night is also like, who cleans at night? I mean, he should be sleeping. He's working hard. He's getting a PhD, and he's cleaning. So cleaning is also obsessive compulsive. So, I kind of
yeah.
feel, I feel kind of, torn because if he did do it, it's going to be something weird to me that somebody who's so obsessive compulsive could go in there and get. I mean, he'd have to be in a spacesuit or something not to get anything on him. I mean,
And
I
that's
feel like
what, yeah, that's what doesn't make sense. No victim's DNA in the car, in the office,
yeah,
in the apartment, in the house. You know, I, seriously, I don't know how nothing. And you're talking about, this car getting ripped apart and swabbed like a motherfucker.
nothing. And they make a big deal out of him cleaning his car. Okay, he was cleaning his car in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
That's like a
If
month
he
or so.
committed this crime and he was trying to
He'd be
clean
cleaning
his
it the
fucking
next
car, he would
day.
have been cleaning it in Washington. Yeah. He would have been cleaning it back there.
Now,
Um,
if they had video of him cleaning his car like on November 13th at 3 p.m. or even earlier than that, then that's something. But cleaning his car in Pennsylvania after that long drive, I mean, that doesn't sound strange to me.
no, I mean, hell, I clean mine before I go on a trip and I clean mine after because I know I want it to be clean when I'm going on a trip before I go on any trip. And I know damn well I got to clean that fucking thing when I come
Yeah.
back because, you're going on a road trip, you're,
And it's sad because he may have had a drug problem. Who knows? And maybe he was looking for drugs. We never know. But the media definitely goes out of control.
yeah,
And I've been listening to you guys, and you guys are figuring things out as you go on the show. You don't always know what's going on, and you have glitches, but you guys are figuring things out. Like, and believe me, after this and after watching you guys, when someone's arrested, I will not. He's not guilty. Like, you haven't proven it yet. And it's
right.
just like doctors. I mean, doctors get really upset when they get sued, and I'm very careful. I can't, when I file a case against a doctor, I make sure that I have an expert witness supporting me because it's a big deal. I mean,
Yeah.
for a doctor to get sued. So it
Mm-hmm.
should be a big deal for somebody to be accused of murder,
Right.
and people should be careful about what they say
Right.
because it could taint the jury pool. It really could.
Yeah, and that's what that's what we the lawyer had. I was driving home from work last week, and
Yeah, I
I
know
was
him.
listening to one of his shows, and he said it right there. It's not the people that are saying that there's innocent until proven guilty. It's not the people that are saying, hey, this could or couldn't happen. We don't know because we don't. It's the people that are saying this is 100 fucking percent,
Yeah, that's the
no doubt.
thing.
That's what will taint a fucking jury.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it from a standpoint of mental illness and like, serious mental illness and drug addiction. I mean, you look at these people and they could be there at the wrong time, and because of their habits or whatever, they may have gotten caught up, and he may have been a bit naive. I mean, based on everything that I've seen and heard, like he may have been a bit naive. And he was away from his family for the first time. I think he lived with his parents for most of the time, and then he came up to Washington. And sometimes people break when they finally are away from their parents, and maybe he had a break. You never know. I mean, maybe he did do it, maybe he didn't. But gosh, I mean, stop it already. Let's look into it
Yeah.
and see.
Yeah.
And the the secrecy really isn't helping.
Oh, the gag order.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it doesn't, because it leaves, especially when, because I had enough when Nancy, and I love Nancy Grace, and I had
Well, I did
enough when
too.
she was talking about how he broke into this girl's apartment to do this, knowing the girl was going to call him, then knowing the girl was going to want security, then knowing the girl was going to ask him to come over and set it up, knowing the girl wasn't going to know how to do her own password, knowing the girl wasn't going to reset the password, like knowing all
Okay,
this shit.
that's just
I'm just like, yo, we need to fucking slow down. And that's the thing. Like, there's so many theories and possibilities that can take place, even
because
on
when you're
some of
looking,
our shows.
yeah,
It's like
and when
we
you're
need.
looking at profiling, like profiling criminals and serial killers. I mean, you look at the BTK killer and Ted Bundy. I don't know that they had any kind of compulsive behavior, like where they had to clean, where they were like very meticulous. They wouldn't eat out of pans that meat has been cooked in there. Like they didn't. I mean, not that I'm aware of, and I've read a lot of I've read a lot of books on true crime and all of that, and somehow I didn't end up as a criminal attorney, but I ended up in medical malpractice. But out of all of those, they profile these criminals, and they've learned, based on these criminals, what their habits were, what they did. And I never really see somebody who was OCD that was like a serial killer unless their compulsion was killing, right?
Right. That's a good point. That's a really good fucking point. It really
Yeah,
is.
I mean,
Right.
did you hear Ted Bundy was cleaning his house late at night and making sure that he had clean pans and I mean, all of that stuff would take up a lot of energy.
Right.
Trying to keep things organized and sorting the trash and doing all these things and making sure this doesn't touch this, and all of that would take so much energy. And to think that he would just go in there and do all of this, and I mean, unless he cleaned, I mean, unless he was a cleaner and because he's so OCD, he cleaned everything, but I doubt that.
Maybe that's why there was no, blood or anything going outside the property, because he done cleaned it off so good that you couldn't even tell where the person left.
But
I mean, well,
you
and
never know.
you bring up another good thing, because when somebody is that OCD, right? When somebody is that OCD, do they, and I'm just speaking from experience, do they not fucking plan out every single fucking possibility that could take place from whatever decision they make, because they have everything planned out or organized so much that why does it make sense if you really did, if you're that OCD about everything and you're OCD about planning out this crime, how in the fuck do you leave your cell phone on before you leave your house? Why in the
Yeah, you would
hell are
never
you
do that.
driving through the middle of cities where there's surveillance all from
Exactly.
every which fucking way? No, if you're OCD, you're one of the most calculated fucking people,
Exactly.
because you already done overthought about every single freaking
You've already
possibility that could
gone and
take place.
checked all of the cameras on the way there.
Right.
You've, I mean, yeah. So, see, that's what doesn't make sense. Is this guy would have done all that? I
Right.
mean, if he was really intent, like he would have checked every single camera. He would have checked. You know,
Leave
I
no
mean,
stone unturned, really.
triple check. I mean,
Because you're not
he.
about surprises. You're about having everything planned out and knowing what situations come up, because then you already know how to react before the situations come up, because you've already put yourself in that situation.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. And I feel like, if this guy, I mean, you're talking about death here. I mean, somebody who may have had a mental illness that got caught up in this, and, he didn't seek help, and maybe his parents, they wanted him to seek help, and he didn't. I mean, we don't know. But if he didn't seek help and he got caught up in this, and he was using recreational, or he was using drugs to self-medicate, and maybe the drugs were in that area, and that's why he was there. But I mean, it's really, people need to really, really think before they open their mouths about Bryan Kohberger. Oh, he's guilty, this and that. Look at him, he looks like a killer, okay? Looks is not evidence.
Yeah. No, seriously. I mean, I've been walking down mall. I'll be walking down Walmart with a fucking tank top, and fucking people are like walking out of my way and shit, and it's like I'm not even fucking doing nothing here, you know? Like,
Exactly.
perception can be a certain thing, but it doesn't mean that that's what it is.
Right.
Yeah,
And
100.
you wanting and hearing these videos, I mean, I don't know what's true and what isn't, but there's a lot going on in that neighborhood. I mean, there's so much going on. Lots of stuff going on in that neighborhood, I mean, who knows? I just am, I really am grateful that some people are actually, you know, saying, "Hey, think before you speak."
Mhm.
That's all.
Yeah, cuz what if
Because
it was us? That's it.
what if it was you?
Mhm. Yeah.
I did this 23andMe genetic thing, and now I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, can they link me to something?
That's why I don't
You know what
touch
I
other
mean?
people's weapons. They think I'm fucking nuts. I'm like, I ain't touching it. No, I'm.
That's a
What?
very good.
You
That's
know,
a very good.
what are you afraid? I ain't fucking afraid of shit. I'll do. I'll touch my own weapons, but I ain't touching yours. Who fucking? I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's so sad, and I don't want to take up too much time because I've been watching you guys talk about this forever, and I finally felt like I needed to call because
Oh, thank you.
he may have OCD, and that's a sad thing to have, and he may have a drug addiction problem, and you know.
And when especially with H, you know what I mean. That's
Oh
it's
yes,
an that's going to
yes,
be an everyday struggle for the rest of your life when
that
it
is
comes
like
to.
the most Yeah, that is one of the most
So
addictive.
yeah.
And they relapse, and it's
To say it
it's
can't
sad.
happen is not, you can't say that's not a possibility either, you know. So yeah,
So
totally.
yeah,
But yeah, thank you so much for your call. I appreciate it. Definitely call
yeah.
in any other time.
Oh, I want to. Sometimes I even want to go on
Yeah.
the panel, but I don't know how to do it. I just subscribe, but I do it on. I'm working and I'm on my phone.
Well,
And
all you have to do is there's a link that gets dropped in chat. You don't have to download anything. It just
mhm,
takes you to your mobile phone browser to
mhm,
streamyard.com, and you basically use your phone or tablet or even a computer, just make sure you have some kind of headphones in or something so you don't get a double
Okay.
echo when it comes to it. But yeah, there's no downloads or nothing. You basically click the link, put your name in there, turn your, you have a microphone and a camera, and it just goes
Yeah.
off your mobile browser, whatever you're
Okay.
using. So yeah, definitely hop up sometime, because
Yeah.
like draw right here, she's 30 years as a practicing MD.
Oh
And
yeah, I
she
see her
hopped up on
comments. Yeah.
panel, yeah, on one of my friends' shows, and I'd love for her to hop up on sometime. I think that'd be a great show if we could have both of you on sometime.
Oh yes, a
You
lawyer
know?
and a doctor. That would be great
Yeah, I
because
think that'd be awesome.
and I also have a background in mental illness. I majored in psychology and I worked at a psychiatric hospital. I was a mental health worker before I went to law school. And so, from a human perspective, from like a perspective of like, these people have issues and problems and they get involved in things, and it's not to say that, they don't have a choice of doing right and wrong. It's to say that like mitigating things that are mitigating factors, right? But in this case, I truly find it so hard to believe that somebody like obsessive compulsive could do this without checking the cameras, checking every single thing, renting, getting somebody to rent a car for him, or like using his own car. And I mean, all of that doesn't make any sense because if he's so OCD, cleaning everything, I mean, But I would love to do that with you guys. Um,
Yeah.
but
What's
yeah.
your YouTube? So when you're typing in chat, is
Well,
it
the thing
Yolie
is that
or?
I subscribe, but I don't have a YouTube, because every time I want to leave a comment, it says, do you want to create a YouTube channel? I'm like, I don't know if I want to create a channel.
Oh, okay. Um,
But I
well,
can email, like, I emailed you a couple of things, but I know you get bunches of emails.
yeah, I get a shit ton.
Yeah, I know you do.
Do me a favor. Just email me, put in the subject your name if it's not from the email, and
Uh-huh.
then if there's a way, if you would like me to, I can help you set one up, so that way it could be totally private for your YouTube. That way it would allow you to feel comfortable chatting.
Yeah.
If you'd like to do
Okay.
that, seriously.
So what I'll do is I'll send you an email and I'll say Yolie on the subject,
Okay.
and then Yo-Yo, because a lot of people call me Yo-Yo, or they call me Yo.
Okay.
Because my name Yolanda.
Yeah.
So I'll email you and I'll put in the subject, Yolie Yo-Yo.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. And then I'll reach out to you sometime this weekend and see, if you
Yeah.
want to take 20 minutes or so, and I can always help you set it up. And then that way you can not only um, join the chat, but then we can have you up on panel. Because with the phone call, I'm only able to stream the phone call, and the people on panel can hear you. You just can't hear the people on panel. So it makes having a multiple person conversation really difficult unless everybody's
Yeah.
on panel. So yeah, I would love to
Okay.
help you get set up with that, and I can walk you through it on, like a StreamYard where I'm using this right now. We could basically do it where I'm not live, and I can show you with my stuff how you can do it on yours. That way all of your information is completely over there, nothing's being shared, and I can walk
Yeah.
you through how to make it private so you can definitely feel comfortable, and then you'd be able to hop up on panel. You can comment in the community
Yeah.
with the community
So
and everything.
yeah. So I'll email you from my own private email. I think I sent you emails from my work email,
Okay.
but I'll send you an email from my private email, and it'll be Yolie Yo-Yo.
Yoli yo yo. Okay, cool. Yeah,
Okay.
and then I'll look for that, and then maybe me and Draw and you, we can all set up something and
Oh yeah, that would
all
be
hang out
great.
on a show one night. That'd be great.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, thank
I'm
you
gonna
so much.
email you now.
Okay, thank you so
Okay.
much. I appreciate you.
Okay. It was nice speaking with you.
Oh, you too. Thank you for calling, and
Okay.
thank you for your comfort. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Bye bye.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That was a great call.